Good evening, students. Let's start a journey with me. Today, I shall talk on Nia Hastings, a very beautiful poem by Toru Dutt. Now, you may have a question: who is Toru Dutt? Students, Toru Dutt is a well known name in Indian English literature after Rabindranath Tagore. Toru Dutt is also referred as the Indian Keats. She had a good command over four languages, and those four languages were Sanskrit, English, French, and Bengali. She was a natural linguist. Her work includes the novel and the collection of prose and poetry. Her two novels, named as The Unfinished Bianca or The Young Spanish Maiden, which she wrote in English, and the second one is Le Journal de Mademoiselle d'Avars, which she wrote in French. A sheaf gleaned in French fields, and Ancient Ballads and Legends of Hindustan are her poem collections. A Sea of Foliage, The Lotus, Sita, or Casuarina Tree are the well known poem of this poem collection. She also published translations in a Bengali magazine. She wrote many letters. Most of her poems are autobiographical and they explore the themes of loneliness, desires, and patriotism. The real name of Toru Dutt was Toru Lata, and she was born on 4th March 1856 in Kolkata and died on 30 August 1877. She died at a very young age of 21. She was an Indian Bengali translator and a poet. Her father converted Christianity when she was only 6 years old. It was the time of 1862, and she was the youngest child of three in the Bengali family after her sister Aru and the brother Abju. All three spent their childhood in Calcutta. Her brother Abju died by TB at the age of 11, and her sister died in 1874. She was 13 when her family left India and traveled to Europe. The family spent 4 years in Europe. They visited France, England, Italy, and Germany. Thus, Toru Dutt was a well known poet, novelist, essayist, translator, and a polyglot. She was an outstanding pioneer in the history of Indian English literature. The poem Nia Hastings speaks on an incident of her travel. We can see the autobiographical tone in the poem, and here she portrays the kindness of a stranger. She was only 13 when she traveled to England along with her family. She visited the small seaside town of Hastings, and here you will see the beautiful description of this place and a stranger whom she encounters. The language is very simple and heart touching. Here we can see the cultures of Europe and India. The poet followed Christian religion, but the traditions and the culture of the Hinduism instilled in her. Now let's move towards the poem. Near Hastings on the shingle beach, we loitered at the time. Wind ripens on the wall, the beach, the autumn's lovely prime. Far off, the sea, the sky seemed blamed. The day was wholly done. The distant town, its murmur sent strangers, we were alone. We wandered slow, sick, weary, faint. Then one of us sat down. No nature hers to make complaint, the shadows deepened down. A lady passed. She was not young, but oh, her gentle face. No painter, no poet ever sung or saw such saint-like grace. She passed us, then she came again, observing at a glance that we were strangers, one in pain, then asked, were we from France? We talked a while, some roses red, that seemed as wet with tears. She gave my sister, and she said, God bless you both, my dears. Sweet were the roses, sweet and full, and large as lotus flowers. That is our own white tanks we cull to deck our Indian bars. But sweetest was the love that gave those flowers to one unknown. I think that he who came to save the gift a date will own. The lady's name I do not know, her face no more may see, but yet, oh yet, I love her so, blessed, happy may she be. Her memory will not depart, though grief my ears should shade. Still bloom her roses in my heart, and they shall never fade. Now, let's move towards the explanation of this poem. There is a beach called as Shingle Beach. It is near Hastings. Now, what is Hastings? Hastings is a large seaside town in England. It is on the south coast of England. The town gives its name to the Battle of Hastings. The Battle of Hastings took place in 1066. In the 19th century, it was a popular seaside resort. Today, Hastings is a fishing fleet. The poet Toru Dutt beautifully describes this single beach which is near Hastings. She came on the beach with her family. They all walked or stand on the beach without any particular reason. It is the time of early autumn season when the peach start to grow. Peach is a kind of fruit, and then far off the sea and the sky seemed to blended in each other. It was the daytime and it was being indicated by the murmuring sound from the nearby cities. The poet tells, we came first time on this beach. We were strangers, alone, weary, and sick. We walked slowly on the beach. One of us sat down there. She wasn't in a condition to complain. We looked pale due to the burning sun. The poet and her family were stranger there, and they looked very dull and inactive. In such situation, a woman came there. She was not a youth, still a kind of grace was on her face. Her face looked so graceful and active, and she was so young, soft, new, and graceful that no painter or poet composed a song on her yet. She was calm and peaceful like a saint. We left behind, and she means here the poetess say that we left behind and she went forward, then she came backward. She started observing us, means she started observing Toru Dutt and her family. Then she began to talk. She asked, were we from France? And a conversation began for a while. There were some red roses in her hand. She offered it to the poet's sister and said, God bless you both, my dears. Just as quickly as she came, she departed. The roses she offered seemed as wet tears. The poet then compares the red roses with the lotus flowers. She tells those roses were as large as the lotus flowers. Here, she is not talking about the fragrance of the roses, its color, and the attractiveness. Here, she tells about the pure emotions behind it. While comparing the roses with lotus flowers, she tells there were lotus flowers in our white tanks in India. We selected them to decorate our Indian bowers. Here, she tries to mingle the two cultures, two religions. She is in Europe and remembers the culture of India. She is a Christian now, and the roots of Hinduism is instilled in her. Why so? Because the feeling of love, affection, and purity is everywhere on this earth in all the religion. Once her eyes opens with the affectionate gift of flowers, she started thinking about her childhood affections with the Indian culture. An unknown lady whom they met on the shingle beach not only offered the flowers but also gave and made her faith strong on the existence of God in such a bad situation. Here she realized that she and her family is not all alone in Europe. There will always a company of God with them. Those gifts were invaluable that will a date on her. Next, the poet tells that she doesn't know the name of the lady. She may not see her face again, but she became the part of her heart. Here the poet wishes that the lady may be blessed and happy. She will not depart from her memory. The lady, her lovely talk, her gift, the grace on her face, her saint like virtue, and the blessings she given to the poet and her sisters, all will be the part of poet's heart. She will always remember those happy moments. The poet says, though her life was surrounded with grief and sorrow, still the love and the affection of the pure soul in the form of the lady will remain be the part of her heart. The memory will be young and fresh forever. The flowers will bloom in her heart, they shall never fade. Through this poem, the poet memorized a moment. It was like a moment as she made to the god who offered her love to her in the form of the red roses. Thank you so much.